Hey everyone, welcome to a new segment I'm calling Self Publishing Conquest, because you know me, I gotta love a quest. So, in this segment, I'm gonna go over some do's and don'ts, things I've learned in the self publishing community so far, and kind of just go over my journey and how I've kind of handled everything. And it's going to be weird because the first episode, I'm actually going to discuss traditional publishing, even though it's a self publishing conquest. Because the decision to do the self publishing came from trying traditional publishing first. So let's just jump right in. So, traditional publishing can be done without an agent. I'm just going to say that right off the bat. Most companies that you reach out to will recommend that you already have an agent. So you don't need one per se, but it is recommended that you do get one just in case. They basically are like the middleman and they handle everything for you, so it makes it a lot easier on you. So the big question is, if you're going to get an agent, what do you do? What are your first steps? Let me show you. So the very first thing that I did was actually just a Google search. As you can imagine, that's as easy as it gets. But you'll also notice a lot of information comes up, like a lot. There's tons of it. It will take you probably a lot of research to kind of go through everything. A lot of people have their own opinions on it. There's a lot of options. Uh, I would recommend just to take as much time as you can and as much time as you need and go through everything. You're not going to be able to hit like all of the millions and millions and millions of results that came up, but you can narrow this down. So I just typed in literally publishing agent, as you can see from the screen. But you can type in publishing agent for fiction, for fantasy, narrow it down as much as you can. I went through a couple of options just to give you an example, and I found this agency right here. I'm not affiliated, no sponsor. I don't know kind of what they handle or anything. I literally just pulled it up. And so it kind of gives you the name, it kind of shows you a couple of authors they've dealt with. And right here, you'll notice a submissions option. So once you've found an agency that you like or an agency you want to work with, this is where you would go. So you just click on submissions, and I actually haven't really read this. So basically you would just read what they want. So for these guys, it looks like to make the submission, you just email this email address with a little bit about your project, yourself, and how you heard about these guys. So you could literally just include in there what your story is about, what genre it is, about yourself. Now, this is where you would have a query letter which would include all this information. And you want to make sure this is where you give information that's going to make you look amazing. So if you've won awards for writing, if your books won awards for writing, anything that you think will boost your chances, now's the time to brag about yourself. Make sure you find that balance, though, between bragging and giving them the information that they need. There's a lot to be said about a little bit of humility, but make sure you include all your awards and everything in there as well. Also, if you have any degrees or anything, make sure you include those. And you can literally just put like Google search. I found you through a Google search. You look like you have interesting writings to do with what I'm looking for. So make sure when you do any submissions, you're catering it to the person you're sending a submission to. So don't just send a generic response to everybody, because it's going to come off generic and they're going to know that you didn't really take the time to look at the website, look at what their interests are. So do the research, make sure you research each agency itself to make sure that's a good match for you. And if you like what you see, submit it. And tell them that's exactly why you submitted, because you looked at their stuff on their website and made sure that it was something that you would be interested in being a part of. So that's literally all I did for the submissions. But as I said, it can be a process at first. Like if you just type in processing for fantasy, yeah, see, you can even make it specific to country as well. Like tons come up, tons. And each person will request something different. Like there are some that would require like 10 pages, 50 pages. On their website that I just pulled up, it said that basically the query letter you send them will let them know if they want to ask for pages. Some people want pages up front. And like I said, it can be anything from like 5 to 50 to the whole thing. Most of them will make sure that you have a completed manuscript. So even before you start thinking traditional or self publishing, make sure that you already have your manuscript completed. Because some of them will say that they don't mind that it's not completed yet, but they will also want lots of pages if they need it. So basically, you don't reach out to them until you're ready to go. So once you reach out to the agents, it kind of becomes a waiting game. Most agents won't respond to you. It even said on the one I pulled up that they don't respond to all of them because they do get quite a lot. So not only do you have to make sure your letter stands out, you have to make sure that it's something that they're going to be interested in so that they can reach out to you. Most of them, if they do, it can be just a generic response that you get back, like, sorry, we're just not interested right now, or most of them won't. And if they do, yes. But again, don't take the first offer and make sure that you do your research. Not one person, not one agent that you reach out to should ask you for money up front. That's a given. If they ask you for a fee for anything up front, they are not legitimate. Do not do business with them. I was lucky. I actually came across something that told me that right before one of my submissions actually asked me for like a startup fee or something. So if they ask you for any fee up front, absolutely anything, whether it's $1 or more, just tell them no, sorry, not interested, and move on. So yeah, so once they reach out to you and say, yes, we're interested, great, awesome. Make sure you read your contract in very vivid detail. And if you have to, make sure someone else reads it as well so you're understanding everything. Also, be sure to check your percentages because, you're doing a lot of the work, but they're going to be doing a lot of the work as well. So you want to make sure it's an even fit with the percentages. Make sure you're getting a good percentage of what you're being offered. And I know it's hard because you're making the leap and you're getting that phone call or that email that says, yes, we want to accept your work. This is a contract. Read it. Take a breath. Take a second. Freak out. Do your dance. But then go business mode. Do not accept the first offer. Make sure you read everything very, very specifically. And like I said, have someone else read it if you need to because your brain is going to be all, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, and you need to reel it in. Business brain. Make sure everything is working in your favor as well because you are the author. So for traditional publishing, I never got to the contract part, which I'm kind of sad about. But I was told many times, make sure you reel it in, take a moment, go over everything. Because my brain would be fangirling and just be like, yes, 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 I accept whatever you give. No, no, don't do that. So at the end of the traditional publishing route for me, I sent out quite a few agencies. I did one round, I think, for 15 people, something like that. And then I did another round. No, I think I did 7 the first time. And then I think it was like 7 the second time, maybe 8. So that was like the 15 total. I got back about 3 or 4 rejections, and I didn't hear from anyone else. So that kind of tells you the percentages we're looking at. So I got 4 rejections. One of them was really nice, and they said, it just needs more polish and that kind of stuff, which is great. But yeah, the others I didn't hear from at all. And those 4 responses I received were not fast responses. Like I submitted everything. Oh, it was years ago. So I think it was like June or something, and I didn't hear back from anyone till like November. So there was a big space. It was several months between sending everything out and even hearing back from the 4 people. So the waiting is awful. It's absolutely awful. Try to be as patient as you can because there could be a possibility for you to send out a bunch and then you wait a month or 2 and then you send out another bunch, but then you might hear back from the first group. So, it's very much a waiting game and you have to space out your submissions. Query letters are massive. So I would highly recommend, once you've found the company you want to work with and the agent you want to work with, make sure you Google as well query letter examples, because I promise there's so many out there and they will definitely help you. I tried a couple of options just to see if it would change, and it definitely did. So make sure you include in your query letter basic information. So your name, your contact information, so email and phone. I think I included my address as well, just to kind of let them know where I was, because I think a couple that I actually reached out to were actually in New York, and so I was like, that's kind of far away from me, so I should probably let them know I am far away in case they want me to go visit them or something. Um, so name, contact information. I included my address. As far as your work is concerned, make sure you include your word count. Make sure you include the title of your book if you have one already, um, and just kind of a general synopsis about what it's about. So for me, it was all about, Catherine and her shenanigans. Just, short and sweet. You doesn't have to be like basically the entire book in a paragraph. Just a couple of sentences just to kind of pull them in and be like, that's kind of interesting. So just remember, everything about your query letter and your submissions is to basically sing praises for you and your book and to get you in the door. As soon as they start reading it, they're going to love it and amazing, but you have to get them to that point where they will like, oh, this sounds interesting. I will read the book. So, yes. I think that's all for now. I think we covered traditional publishing. So next time I'll talk about my transition from traditional to self-publishing. As I said, I did submit quite a few. I didn't hear back, and I just decided to leave it at that. So always keep fighting. You are enough, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.